The Bite Check.
Welcome to the Bite Check, where HIPAA's the guidelines and the drama is always real. We're your hosts. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Malia.
And we want to thank you for watching. And like always, we want to remind you to like, share, and subscribe, and also leave a comment.
All right. Ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it. So, I wanted to share a story with you. I was just kind of going through YouTube looking at dental stories, and I came across this one story where the dentist, she had a blindfold on, and so she started working on the patient with a blindfold on. So the guy was like, "What are you doing? Why do you have a blindfold on?"
Well, yeah.
And she was like, "Well, you didn't want me to take x-rays." So, of course, you wanted me to work in the blood. You're getting what you asked for.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, but then I thought that was worth talking about because
that's hilarious.
No, we get that all the time when people are like, "Oh, no, we don't want to have x-rays done," you know. So I just thought that was pretty interesting, and I said I was going to share that story.
Oh, we should do that.
Yeah, we really should, because, you know, of course, everybody's got their reasoning for, like, you know, wanting, or I should say, or not wanting treatment. And when you go to the dental office, though, and I do think that people should be aware of, you know, like, even when you go to the doctor, like, I don't think you should just take medicine just because the doctor said take this medicine. I think you should understand what they're prescribing you, and, you know, and know the pros and cons and all that. So I get, like, wanting to be educated about your treatment, but I think part of the problem is where people are getting their information from.
Number one, yeah, I do too. I think it's where they're getting their information from, aka Dr. Google, and also having outdated information.
Right, exactly.
Or their family member 7 generations ago was a doctor and told them not to do x-rays. You know,
right,
it's
exactly, yeah.
about not being informed.
And this, you know, this episode is not about us trying to convince people to have x-rays taken, but especially today with most offices doing digital x-rays, the exposure is so minimum. I mean, we can't say that there's no scattered radiation, but there literally is, like, almost none. Yeah. But anyway, I just thought it was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. I do want to do that. Yeah. But speaking about blind people, okay, I have a really embarrassing story. This was a couple years ago.
Wait a minute. Speaking of blind people, we weren't talking about blind people.
Well, being blindfolded.
Okay,
reminded me of this blind patient I had. Okay, I didn't know she was blind. She was elderly. She had a caregiver come with her. You know, I didn't think anything of it. I honestly, okay, anyway, we'll just get into it. She had a caregiver. She was elderly, you know. She needed help to the chair. Again, that is not uncommon.
Right.
So, she's in the chair. She's laying back, actually. And her caregiver goes, "Oh, the flowers are so pretty." And the patient goes, "Oh, I can't see them." So we were, like, waiting for the doctor or something. So I said, "Oh, it's okay. I'll sit your chair up." And so I sit her chair all the way up. And I said, "Yeah, see? They're, like, purple and blue or whatever." And she goes, "No, I still can't see them." And I'm thinking, okay, I guess I'll raise your chair up a little bit more. Maybe you can't see over the windowsill. I don't know. So I raised it up even more, and her caregiver looks at me and she goes, "She's blind."
How did you not know that the lady was blind?
Okay, my friend, she didn't have, like, a cane or, like, you know, she didn't have, like, a stick, you know, the blind people used to walk with. Like, I didn't know she was blind.
She had a person. That's why she didn't.
But she was elderly, so I thought it was just, like, her age, you know?
I can see that.
If I got her caregiver just, like, "She's blind," I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And the patient was like, "Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to tell you. You can move my chair up and down. I still can't see."
Oh.
I was like, "I'm so sorry."
I would have been so embarrassed. She's like, "I didn't walk all the way in here."
But I said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were blind. I mean, at the time, I didn't know it was called a cane, so I said I didn't know you didn't have a stick."
Wait a minute, you didn't know it was called a cane?
It to me just looks like a stick, you know, like a big plastic stick. So I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were blind. You didn't have your stick." And she goes, "That's why I had my aid." I said, "Oh God."
I thought she was gonna say. I thought she was gonna tell you it's not called a stick. It's called a cane. I guess I did something a little similar to that. Like I had a patient, and he was blind. He actually did have his cane, and he had the the one that is that the blind people traditionally have. You know,
yeah,
they have
yeah,
the little ball
the ball
thing on
thing.
the
Yes.
yeah. So he had that, and he got around pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so he asked me if he could go to the bathroom, and I'm like, of course you can. So he stood up, and then he said, where's my cane? I said, it's right there. And he's like,
it's right there.
And then he was like, huh? I said, it's right there. And then he says, yeah, people do that all the time. It's on my left or my right. I felt this small, like I really did, because I knew he was blind. I actually knew, but I just wasn't thinking, because he stood up, and a lot of times, because I remember as a little girl, our neighbor was blind, and she cooked, she did everything. So, and she did use a stick when she was out, like going out, but she did everything. Because even when because like how she did seasoning, she would let the seasoning like run through her hand, so she knew how much was going in. Yeah, but I mean, they, some blind people can get around very well, and they're very comfortable, especially if they're in a familiar environment. Right, yeah. And so he knew that he had set his cane in one of the chairs, but the way he stood up and he was facing the chair instead of facing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because when he walked in, he was facing the window. So he put it on this chair, but when he stood up, he was facing the chair. So he could tell that there was a chair right here and a chair. He knew there was a chair right here. He just wasn't sure which one. He was like, "Where did I put my
cane?" And you're just like, "It's right there."
Duh. I really did. I felt real small because, like I said, clearly he was blind. But the way he was very comfortable in the environment, so he didn't give off, the vibe that like, yeah, this guy is blind. Even though I did know he was, but I thought that was pretty funny. But I did feel pretty small though.
I know. I mean, I felt bad after the fact, but like I said, there was no indication to me that she was blind.
And then I wanted to overhelp him, which was also
I know, because then you try and overcorrect
and that doesn't help, because I'm like, here, let me help you, and he's like, yeah, I got it. Like
he's like, just move, please.
Right.
Tell me where the bathroom is.
Yeah, but anyway, so I guess it's. I don't know. Some things are just going to be unavoidable, like, for your story with the lady, if you didn't know, like, oh, you can't see? Oh, let me lift the chair up so you can.
Yeah, you still can't. Let me just raise it a little higher.
Yeah, but I thought that was pretty funny, though, how the doctor put the blindfold on and was like, hey, I got to work in the blind. A lot of our patients probably wouldn't appreciate that. It's just because of where we're at. And she probably knew. You just have to, who you can, get away with that with, and who will laugh it off and be able to take it as a joke. But I don't know how well that would go.
I don't know either, because at our office, the patients that don't want x-rays are very adamant about not wanting x-rays, and like they say no, and that's they want that to be the end of discussion. So to be like, okay, and then like leave the room and like put a blindfold on and come back, then it would be like, okay, this place is getting a 1-star review.
Right, exactly.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it might work in our advantage,
Seriously.
Just saying, it's an option.
Thank you for watching.
Don't follow all of my suggestions.
No. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And comment. And comment and tell us your funny stories, because we love to share them. Yeah, we love to do new topics every week. So go ahead and share. Send us your videos. All right. See ya.